How's it going out there today, good people? We are back today with the House of Business Podcast. It's your host, Kelly Thompson. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. I would like to thank everyone for taking the time out to watch these videos, listen to these videos. Man, it's a good time to watch these videos, man, when you're driving on your way to work, when you're headed to your business establishment, man. And I always say to everyone watching these videos, if you're watching these videos and there is something that you cannot pull from these videos or from these podcast episodes, that I encourage you to, share it with someone else. Share the video with someone else that's in a place that maybe can use the information at that time. We had a great episode that was about the art of delegation. So with the art of delegation, there's a lot of people who have already mastered that art on how to delegate those tasks and those responsibilities to employees. So you may not need that episode, someone else may need it. So try to share these videos with someone else that needs it. We would appreciate that here at the House of Business Podcast 2.0. I need to continue to put that in the intro 2.0 because this is the upgraded version. Today, man, we have a good one for you, man. We're going to be talking about the leadership lens, seeing your employees clearly. So once again, that's going to be the leadership lens, seeing your employees clearly. And I'm just going to give you 4 points. Lately, I've just been giving 4 points, and sometimes we will have a part 2. If it's important to why we need to give you this information, and we try to detail it as much as possible so you can have a clear-cut understanding where there's no way that that any questions will arise, pertaining to the information that we give you guys. But what I want to say is I'm going to give you 4 points. The reason why I kind of give 4 to 5 points every episode and maybe add or continue with the part 2 for the sake of time. These days everyone doesn't have a good attention span. They like things quick. They like shorts, reels, quick reels, TikTok, videos, shorts. So we will chop this up also into shorts as well. But for the time being, we're just going to go over this podcast, man. We hope you guys enjoy it. The leadership lens, seeing your employees clearly. Number one, why is this important? It's important for a leader to understand his employees beyond job titles for the simple fact that, number one is because of your company culture. Because if you have a company culture or a foundation of your company that you have built a culture around, you want to make sure that they fit that culture. I've seen this so many times. There are a lot of people that will bend their will to working with a company that they hate going to work, but they need the money. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you hire the right people, because if people love where they work, they will work there almost as if it is a hobby. If I'm doing something I love, it's not a job, and that's just the truth. If I love baking, don't get me wrong, there's going to be a time when a lot of orders come in. Man, I don't know why I always use this analogy about baking. Maybe I need to start a baking business, and write the operational systems for it and have someone run it. I don't know. Maybe that'll be my next subsidiary. It's a baking business. I always use that analogy for some reason about baking. So maybe I may need to look into that. Maybe that's like they say, the universe telling me something. But maybe God is giving me. Maybe God is giving me that for a certain reason. But the reason why you need to understand your employees beyond just the job titles. Now, you will hate for your company culture's sake. Now, you will hate to get someone that has the skill set, but they do not have the character, or they do not align with the company culture. If you are a Christian-based business, and someone comes in, it doesn't matter about the way they look, but their character doesn't line up with everyone needs to have a moral compass to some degree, but you wouldn't expect a preacher to be working at a tattoo parlor or a biker bar. So try to understand what I'm saying without being offended. What I'm saying is that You need to find people when you go through your hiring process, when you comb through your candidates for the job position. What you need to do is you need to try to understand who fits the company culture, and you need to check their family dynamic. You have to get to the nitty gritty. It's okay. Some people can be skilled in a for a position. They can hold all the accolades, all the qualifications for a position, but their character doesn't line up with the company culture, as I said. But once you get to know your employees beyond job titles, you want to get to know their family dynamic. It is okay for you if you are a big corporate business. Sometimes you don't have time. You don't have time to really, as a owner, to go to your primary candidate's house, not unless it's a C-suite position. If it's a C-suite position, if he's a C-suite executive in that position, you may need to take the time out to thoroughly comb through that candidate's accolades and also their personal life to a certain degree. Because everything you see on paper and everything that you see on the internet and everything that you see from a person's past, what I've learned, is not always true. So you need to get to know the person. I could say something about a person, about what they did 20 years ago, and if I tell someone else, they can think they did it last night, So you really need to thoroughly, you need to do a thorough investigation yourself, and you also need to talk to the person yourself. Now, it's okay to do an investigation, but the investigation, there's always something left out. I need to talk to this person open-minded without I need to throw all this information that I believe I've gathered against this person, and I need to talk to the person head on and try to get to know who the person is themselves. So with these, you don't really have time as a CEO and as a business owner to really have those type of relationships while hiring, like combing through your candidates, like to understand and to know their family dynamic, like where their kids go to school or how they are. When they wake up in the morning, does their family pray? Or when they wake up in the morning, does their, just the whole family dynamic, is there love in that house? It's, you really want to get to know people to their core, especially when you're delegating them tasks that can either make or break your business, and when they're in a high position, that you're really leaning on them to pick up some pace or to carry some weight or to handle pressure and responsibilities when you're not there at that business. So when you're giving someone those type of tasks, you really need to get to know them beyond their job titles. You want to understand their family dynamic. You want to understand the background, their personal background, whether they're in the military, whether they go to school, are they self-taught? I've met a lot of in my career as I keep saying but in my career as a chef, I actually met a lot of cooks that were self-taught that were way better than Michelin 5-star chefs. They plated the food creatively and pretty, but it was nasty. You know what I mean? It actually sucked. The food was nasty. But these guys they had taste. You know what I mean? They had a lot of flavor in their food, and they also plated the food beautifully. So, but get to know the background, their traditions, their cultures. That way you can connect. I had a lot of international employees. I've dealt with a lot of VAs, virtual assistants from a lot of other countries. We actually ran a remote operation for a catering service, and we had employees, I would say we had some in Nigeria, we had some in India, we had some in Pakistan, we had some in the Philippines, from marketing directors to customer service representatives. So, but get to know their background and their culture and their traditions. I didn't know Saints Day was like, in the Philippines, Saints Day was like, Halloween or day before Halloween or after, something like that, but we call it Halloween. So the dynamic of that holiday is still kind of the same, but it's a different name, and it holds a different meaning, but it's still kind of tied into the same concept. But get to know these things, get to know the traditions, the cultures, and the background of your employees. That way you'll be able to connect with them in a deeper way and get to know their character. A lot of times when I'm hiring someone, what I would do is I would give them a scenario. Okay, this happened. I would usually have a specific scenario or something that they can relate to. That's why you have to know the traditions, the cultures, things, their background. I would give them a scenario and I'll say, well, this happened, this, and that. And I will see how they will problem solve. And let me tell you something, how a person solves a problem is tied into their character. Now, there's a way that you can do it according to the books. And then there's a way that, when things get heated or there's really some pressure or when no one thinks that no one's looking, or if I'm specifically talking about managers or people that are in positions of authority. Because when they feel like they have the authority to treat anyone the way that they want to treat them, when they know that the owner is not there, these are the moments that you need to, I'll give them a sentence. No one's in the store. It's just you there. Customer comes in. Of course, they're going to tell me what they think they would do or the right answer. But you need to really try to understand and decipher, is this something that they really would do? Because I would ask, well, they did this. Then they turned around and they did this. And as they're talking and explaining to me, I would start to butt in and start to add more problem to the problem. And then I will also see if they get irritated with me, add more problems, and see if that brings out a piece of their character that they're trying to hide. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's human. You don't want to irritate someone to the point where they start to explode or they start to get irritated and frustrated, and then you say, oh well, look, I see that you know what I'm saying, you're very irritable. That's not true. Everyone's a human being. If you keep poking at a bear, sooner or later he's gonna eat you. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna claw your eyes out. So all I'm saying is you need to be able to have emotional intelligence, to a high caliber of emotional intelligence, and enough experience in customer service to the point where you can handle situations and take pressure and take being cussed out and actually process it and be calm in the situation. But I also understand that people are human and not everyone has that level of emotional intelligence and not everyone has that level of resistance. So you really need to kind of understand, you want to know the capacity that your employees hold when it comes to those type of situations. Okay, and this is the one, why is it important? But I also want you to know as well that, as the employee comes on board to the company, they have taken on the responsibility to the company to, execute certain tasks, responsibilities, and things that will help the company to grow. So as they start to do that, you also, in exchange, take on the responsibility to make sure that they have everything that they need, all the tools that they need, so that they can, utilize these things to, become the best versions of themselves. They need the tools. They need the necessary tools to execute their job. It's your job and your responsibility as a boss, a manager, or a business owner to make sure you do not tell your employees to make brick but take away the straw. You know what I mean? It's just some people get that concept but you do not make them work harder with less material and say just get it done. You do everything that you're supposed to do and everything that you're supposed to do to make sure that they have all the tools necessary, and then you let them execute at their own job. So you do it like that. Okay, sounds good. Okay, number 2, the importance of perspective in leadership. Perspective is everything. And do not adopt someone else's perspective simply off of their word. Do not adopt someone else's perspective simply based off of their word. As a leader, you need to be able to have your own perspective. You need to have a level of discernment that you do not take everything at face value. Someone can tell you, okay, well, Jennifer's been late to work, 3 times this week, or she's having someone else clock her in. Show me the Carfax, Show me the Carfax. Do not bring any problem to me and you do not have all the evidence. And then I also understand as a leader as well that evidence can be fabricated and some things can look as if it is and it's really not. So you still cannot take everything as face value. You need to have a level of wisdom and a level of discernment where you do not just accept anything, or you do not allow some of these employees that's, they're really, I hate to say it like this, but they're really trash. They're really trash. They went through the hiring process. They answered all the questions right, but they're really grimy. They're petty. They're jealous. They're envious of the other coworkers. You need to weed these employees out. A lot of these employees, they start off great. They start off as team players. And as time goes on and other talent comes aboard, they start to get jealous. You know, instead of sticking it to their own lane and what they need to do to achieve their goals and to make sure that the company grows, they take all their time and energy off of their task and their responsibilities of why they were hired, and they start to use their time and energy to make sure that someone else in the company fails. If I find anyone in any one of my companies that's using their time and energy not towards helping the business grow, because as the business grow, they also grow as well. You know, their pay grows as well. But if you are coming into a facility of mine and you are taking your time and your energy and you are directing that towards trying to harm, hurt, or sabotage the position or the character, or you know how someone sees your form of your employee, you know, your own your coworker, you know, someone that you're supposed to be working with, you're supposed to, you know, you will be fired. You will be fired on the spot. I don't care if I have to write up a document 3 days later and we have to go to court. I will fire you right there on the spot if any knowledge of any knowledge of that sort comes to my discernment, to my desk, that you are taking, instead of taking your time and energy, pouring it into your own life, making sure that you are taking your time and energy for your own personal self-development, for the development of this company or why we hired you, for the development of other people to help them to reach their full potential. If you have a bitter, jealous, envious, low vibrational energy about you, and you're coming into the office and you're using a little energy that you have to target other employees because you see talent in them, because you see that they're talented, because you see that they have dreams, aspirations, and whatever it is, or whatever's making, you will be fired on the spot. I'm telling you, I will fire you. I will fire you immediately. That's not what we do at TSG Global Resource Management Group. You will be fired. I hate to say it like that, but you'll be fired. I mean, I'll fire you. But yeah, so you know, they've taken on the responsibility to make sure that the company grows, that they use their expertise, that they use everything that they have available that they brought into the company. They came with the offering to the company saying, this is my skill set, this is my expertise, these are my qualifications, this is all that I am. And if the company accepts me, you know what I mean, I will sacrifice all that I have to make sure that this company grows and that I'm successful in any task and responsibility given to me. In return, as a business owner or CEO, it is your job to make sure that they have everything necessary that they need to make sure that they can execute their job tasks and their responsibilities to their highest level of potential, and also leave room for development. Also give them new tasks, you know, help them, you know, you always, someone that's hungry, make sure that you feed them, and make sure that you feed them not just enough, overfeed them so that you can see what they do with the extra resources. That's a lot of things that I like to do. When someone is in a company and they're hungry, okay, I give them a task. I give them another task. I may even, instead of raising their pay, I may raise their position, their job title, and see if they're hungry enough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're going to get the raise, but I want to know if you will take on the responsibility, even without the job raise, the raise at the moment. Man, you might get the raise the next day, but I want to know if you will still be eager and hungry and saying that this is what I love to do, and I'm going to do this better than anyone else, and I'm going to, you know, execute everything that comes my way. I'm going to make sure that I perform, have a peak performance every day, or at least aim to have a peak performance every day, despite anything else. And I'm going to watch that employee so that I can find a way to tailor a blessing or tailor a package to them for gratitude, to show that I'm grateful for their services. I'm grateful for their character. I'm grateful for the time that they put in. I will watch that employee so that I can make sure that I can customize a specific package of blessings, of goodies, or whatever, they love, whatever they need. I don't care what it is. Really get down to the nitty gritty of their problems. If their car is about to break down, maybe fix their car, or get them a company vehicle, or maybe their own vehicle, or rent them a car until we can get their car fixed. I will find out what is needed beyond just their job life and tailor a package, a package specifically for that employee to make sure that they get exactly what they need, and a little bit more, just for their commitment and their loyalty to our business. We just went over this. Number 2, the importance of perspective and leadership. Try to develop a 360 view of your employees, which we just went over. That's number 2. Try to develop a 360 view of your employees, their personal skills, their personal challenges, and their career goals. Especially career goals. That's a big one. Career goals is a big one, because there are some people who just want to go to work and they want to go home. Do not give these people extra tasks or extra responsibilities in your company. You have to understand, some people love to come to work. They want to do their job and they want to go home. They don't want to be the manager. They don't want to be the customer service, the senior rep, sales rep. They don't want to be that. They want to come in, they want to make their money, make their check, and they want to go home. They want to pay their bills. They want to make sure that they have enough, for them, their children. They want to make sure they get a good, high-paying job, and they want to stick to what they were hired to do, and they want to go home. So you have to understand, not everyone's career goals are the same. Do not load people down with tasks, and you know that they want to come here and they want to go home. If you know that I hired this person because of their expertise in this area, they're good at what they do in this area, and that's what I hired them for. Now, if they don't want to do anything else, I'm not going to pressure them. I may ask them to do this or do that, because you don't want to have complacency. No employee to be complacent in the company, but you do have to understand who you're dealing with. Some people want to come to work and they want to go home. Quit trying to give people job titles and positions that they are not willing to have. They don't want, because you're going to make the company go down. The company is going to get lazy. If anyone else if you give someone some power or an authority, and they are complacent, or they or not really, just not to say not complacent, they are content with where they are in life. They don't want that. If you give it to them, if you give someone like that some power or some authority, anyone that threatens that position, they will gang up people around them, because they now have the authority and no one wants to offend them. They will get together other people in the company, either lie, sabotage, or push out that employee who has the great potential to really run that position, to the way it's supposed to be ran. But because you have already placed them in that position, now they're lazy, but they're using the power and the authority and the title to push out anyone that threatens the person who's rightfully supposed to sit in that position and bring the company up to a higher standard. So you cannot just hire anyone just because you're desperate, and you cannot place someone who just wants to come to work and go home. You cannot place them in positions of authority, because they are going to abuse that authority, especially when they are intimidated by someone who is skilled, talented, and has the potential to run that position the right way. So be careful with that. You want to truly understand the difference between seeing your employees as assets and seeing them as people with unique needs. And I'm going to tell you, there needs to be a balance. You need to see your employees as assets, because no one wants liabilities. I don't want to hire a bunch of employees and they're not doing any work, but I've done this multiple times before. I've hired some of the most talented people that you could probably ever think of that was around the world. But because I wasn't really, I'm just now stepping into leadership. I'm at the beginning, or at the genesis of becoming, a serial entrepreneur, being a leader. I've raised children, but I never ran a business before, if you know what I mean. Dealing with so many different personalities, so many different backgrounds, so many different, energies of people, and so many outlooks on life. You need to be versatile. You need to be, flexible, adaptable to all these different cultures, all these different people, all these different outlooks on life. I wasn't that versed at the moment. I wasn't that advanced at the moment. So, but I had it in my possession, some of the most, I wouldn't say possession like that, like I would have stole this talent, but I mean that, man, it was a treasure to have these people on my team. But because I didn't know who I was, I had a vision, but I didn't know how to explain the vision in such a way that it would make them believers in putting forth that talent and that treasure that they have on the inside them to put it or to deposit it into the business to make sure that the business grows. I couldn't explain, or I couldn't, I just couldn't explain. I can't think of the word, but I couldn't give them what they needed, the tools that they needed to believe that this vision would work. So I work with these guys, man, full of talent, full of gifts, man, some of the most amazing people. I couldn't help them to see the vision to a point where they say, okay, well, we know what to do in this area. Boom. As soon as I explain the vision to them and say, okay, well, you're the marketing director. Let's put together a content calendar, for this month. We'll do these 3 subsidiaries. I didn't know about, just the brand packaging, branding and positioning in the marketplace. I didn't know any of that. I just knew that I had a dream and I had a vision. I had a little bit of money, so I wanted to get some people together to help me to execute this vision. And no one, and then again, because I couldn't explain my vision, it was in my head and I could see it clearly, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't, help them to understand it. So that's another way. Practice on explaining your vision or removing your vision from your mind and on paper to make sure that you can explain it to a point where people would be ready and real adamant about helping you execute that vision. But you cannot help someone that you cannot understand. So be careful with that. You want to truly know the difference between seeing your employees as assets and seeing them with people with unique needs. Like I said before, you don't want a whole bunch of liabilities, and you don't want to be a liability as well. So you have to have a balance. You need to see employees as assets, and you also need to understand that these assets have unique needs. So it's just like this. I hate to compare a human being to to this, but just try to understand what I'm saying. I have I have a Babe Ruth rookie baseball card. This is an asset. I can buy it for $250K, and I can sell it for $1.6 million, to the right buyer. But in the process while having this card in my possession, it has special needs. It needs to be in a certain container. It needs to be in a certain room temperature for preservation. It needs to be treated a certain way. If I do not take care of the unique and special needs of this baseball card, this asset that I can use for profitability, and I damage it, it's not going to be worth anything. So there needs to be a balance. You need to understand that your employees, yes, they are assets, but they also have special needs. And I hated to use a baseball card analogy for this specific, but I just want to help you to understand that do not think of your employees as, either cattle or just just this person that can easily be replaced or this and that, just as assets, and don't think of them as someone who you have to baby all the time. They always have all these special needs where you're draining yourself. You cannot expand the vision of your company because you're running around like you're you're a nurse. You're running around like you're the nanny, like you're a billionaire's nanny. You know what I mean? You're running the company like a nanny, and you're draining all your energy trying to make sure that everybody's taken care of. Start to put other people in place that can take care of the needs of your employees while you still take care of what you need to take care of. But also at the same time, you do need to see them as employees, and you do need to understand that they have special needs as well. So No, there needs to be a balance. Number 3, active listening and open communication. We have one more after this. We'll go over all of them before we end it. This actually extended a little bit longer than I thought it would. But active listening and open communication. Yeah, we'll end here and we'll do part 2. So we'll end here. These are the top 3. We went over why it's important. The leadership lens, seeing your employees clearly. Why is it important to see your employees clearly? Number 2, the importance of perspective and leadership. And number 3 is active listening and open communication. And then we'll do part 2 tomorrow, Saturday. So we'll do it tomorrow, Saturday. So active listening and communication. You need to truly hear what your employees are saying and what they're not saying. There's a lot of times when we place a lot of burdens on our employees based off what they do not want. Now, you do have to run a company to a certain degree and a certain standard, and they need to get on board. Either they get on board with what your company's policy is and your company's standards are and what your company culture is, or they can leave and go and find somewhere else that suits their needs. But there comes a point in time that when your employees are telling you something and they're giving you feedback, you need to understand exactly what they're saying. Now, you need to understand exactly what they're saying and then what they're not saying. If I order some filet mignon, don't filet mignon, but if I order some filet mignon, don't bring me out pork chops. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying try to there needs to be a little push and pull. See, sometimes you can fulfill a request as a CEO but you still have a boundary. I understand that you guys want to listen to music at your desk, but the boundary is it cannot be over a certain volume. No, this is not Party Central. So you can still listen to feedback and have okays for certain things that's going on, but you do still need to have a balance. Let me know. Oh man. But active listening and open communication, hear what your employees are saying, feedback, and hear what they're not saying. And this can also help you as well to tailor your leadership approach to make sure that you're the best leader yourself, and it also helps with self-development. Another one is encourage an open door policy and psychological safety in the workplace. Do not use anything that anyone tells you as a leader or a business owner. Do not use that as a way to blackmail your employees. I've worked with a lot of corporate companies, and the way that they control you or oppress you is that when you have they will put you in a situation where you have a need, where you barely have enough, and then once you come to explain that need to them, they will use that as an opportunity to blackmail you, control you, and oppress you even further, to the point where it's hard for you to even leave the company. It is kind of like a narcissist boss. There are companies out there that are built, based, bred, and scaled off narcissism, whether you want to believe it or not. There are companies that are, like I said, they're built on deception, and they're built on deception. They're built on manipulation. They are built on oppression, and there are companies that are thriving companies that are built on these type of morals. I'm gonna say morals, but these type of attributes and characteristics, and they're flourishing because they use the oppression method to stay on top. You understand the psychological needs of your, encourage an open door policy when it's okay for your employees to come in and talk to you. And when they come in and talk to you, man, be a human being, man. You know what I'm saying? Be a human being. Do not think of this person, that person. Do not let your emotions get all in the way. Do not be a human being, man. Understand that, man. If my daughter came to talk to her boss, how would I want him to respond to her? If she really had a sincere need, or she really had something that was truly going on that she had a complaint about, how would I want this boss or this CEO to handle my daughter's complaint or handle my son's complaint if my child was in this position? You have to think of your employees like that, because they are someone's daughter, they are someone's son, they are someone's mother, and they're someone's father. So you have someone's grandchild as well. So be a human being, man. When people come to you with sincere complaints, and these complaints, they deserve your attention, don't just throw it in the trash or sweep it under the rug. How would you want someone to handle your child's complaint? How would you want someone to handle your complaint? What if you had to go to the government, or what if you had to go to City Hall, the Chamber of Commerce, and they just handled your complaint as if it was it was just some trash, and you didn't get the things that you really needed, the necessities that you needed to really operate at the level that you could operate. There's a sewer line busted, and the city won't fix it, and now the smell is right in front of your company, right in front of your storefront, and no one wants to come in because it smells like raccoon diddles all over. It smells like elephant crap, So, and you really want to get these things fixed, so you go and you talk to the city, and they just throw your complaint in the trash, and now you're losing capital. Your revenue is going. You're not generating enough revenue. You got a lot of overhead. You know what I mean? You're not generating enough revenue. So what are you going to do? What if So you have to think of that. You have to think if no one, just be a human being, man. Try to have compassion on people, man. Try to have show people respect, and try to take complaints serious as if, man, you were the one that had the complaint. Never downplay the power in one-on-one check-ins and meaningful conversations. And this is the last one that I wanted to go over before we got out of here and this is the most important. Have customized leadership. Everyone cannot take the bold you as a business owner. I'm going to tell you right now. If you ever had multiple children, you can talk to one child in a certain way, and the other one you have to talk to in another way. They're going to break down. They're going to cry. They're going to you have to customize your leadership, because no one has the same personality. No one was raised in the same household. No one has the same understanding of life. No one was raised the same. No one grew up with the same cultures and traditions, unless they've just bow down to the social norms of the system. But other than that, they still have a personalized or customized upbringing that was different from everyone else that works in the company. So you have to find a way to be adaptable. You have to customize your leadership, adapt your approach to different personalities. So you know what I mean? You can't talk to Jim the same way you talk to Bill. Jim's going to get offended and he's going to go to corporate. Bill, you can say the same thing too, and he'll bust your chops and he'll say, "Man, I'll get right on it, boss." So you have to tailor your customize your leadership to different personalities. If you do not do that, you will say something that you can believe that is just extremely harmless, and it can put you in a situation where, man, you have a court case. Or you can say something that's extreme. You cannot. Now, I'm not saying it's from that extreme to another extreme, but I'm saying that you have to. It can be, if you don't know who you're talking to. If you don't know who you're talking to, yeah, you can say this to this person, but you can't say it to this person. If you don't really try to understand as a leader who you're talking to, and really, be reserved and be observant, with your employees or who you're leading, you can say the wrong thing and it can cost you. It can put you in a fake scandal. For one statement can almost ruin your career if you don't have the right lawyers, if you don't have the right money, you don't have the right connections, just off a simple statement that you believe was harmless, and someone took it as offensive and saw it as a cash cow to milk you dry and move on with the life. So you have to be careful, man. Tailor your leadership skills to each customize your leadership approach and adapt it to the different personalities of the people you lead. Once again, this is the House of Business Podcast 2.0. This is your host, Caleb Thompson. I want you guys to know I want to thank you guys for watching these videos. This is the leadership. This episode is called The Leadership Lens, seeing your employees clearly. So now you guys tune back in here tomorrow. We'll have part 2. It's been a good one. Peace.